Welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam Smith, and inside this video we kick off a rolling solo showcase for Slay the Spire, the board game coming from Contention Games. This game landed last year in 2024 and became the #3 solo game of that year per the rolling solo board game community. I'm excited to dive into a showcase with you all, and just to mention, for those that missed it, I have a game unboxing of the collector's edition for this one. In the top right hand corner you'll find a link if you want to check that out, but we're going to dive into all the steps of setup in this how to set up video, and then in the future we'll dig right into gameplay together and see how far up the spire we can go. The first step of setup is to pick your character. There are 4 inside the box. You'll see them up in the top right hand corner. We'll take a close look in just a second. I've already gone ahead and chosen the Ironclad, so I've got the Ironclad playmat here from the collector's edition. In the top left is the Ironclad, in the top right the Silent, in the bottom left the Defect, and finally in the bottom right the Watcher. Now, as you can see from the boards themselves, there's different abilities that each one of them have, and of course there's different cards that each one of them have, as well as strategies per each one of them to build out as you deck build your way through the spire. So for me personally, I'm going to go with the Ironclad, as I mentioned. In the top left hand corner we'll take that one. The other ones will go back to the box. It is worth mentioning that the rules state when you're starting out, the best 2 to choose from at the very beginning to get your feet wet in the game is the Ironclad in the top left or the Silent in the top right. So here's a look at the Ironclad playmat. You'll see an exhaust area marked here, the player board, the draw and discard areas, and at the very top, a play area. First, we'll place the player board down. Now find the miniature that matches the character you've selected. For now, I'll place the miniature on the playmat. Later, it'll go to a specific position further into this video. Next up, we need to get some card decks for the Ironclad. The first one we need is the starter deck. And the starter card deck is comprised of 10 cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 defend cards, 1 bash card, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikes. The starter card deck is shuffled up and placed to the right of the dashboard for the character. Next up is the card rewards deck, which is color-coded to match the character you've selected. You'll see the red border around the card. You'll also see a border around the artwork itself, which depicts rarity. We'll talk more about this later on. But as you can see throughout the deck, same look and feel for the cards. But you'll notice in my deck, unlike the one you'll be using for the very first time you play, I have an unlock symbol down here, number 1. And this is actually only added to this deck when you happen to unlock something. And you'll find the unlock information towards the back of the rulebook. The third deck you'll need for your character is the Rare Rewards deck, which again has a border that matches color-wise with your character. So you can find the red ones for Ironclad quite easily, and again has the goldish look to the outside trim of these Rare Rewards. And of course, if you've unlocked anything, then you're going to have those added into this pool as well. I actually have 1 for this play down here already unlocked. Place the Rare Rewards deck and the Card Rewards deck in easy reach. Make sure you shuffle both of those independently, and then next, you're going to grab the token tray and place it nearby. Now take out 3 red cubes from your token tray and place 1 in each of the tracks. For energy, you'll place it in the 3rd position. Block will be at 0 and HP to your maximum. It's worth mentioning for energy and for block, there will be an actual pip right next to a numerical value, which will remind you exactly where these should go. The next step is to get a number of decks set up. We'll start with the first encounter deck. Slay the Spire is broken into a number of acts, so we're obviously starting at act number 1 to begin our ascent up the spire. So act 1 cards are only what we're focusing on here. The next deck we need to pull out is the Encounter Act 1 deck. With that deck now in place, both of these two have been shuffled. We now move on to the Summons deck for act number 1. This deck gets placed, it does not get shuffled. The Summons deck has been placed face down, just like the rest of the decks that are already there. Another reason why the Summons deck should not be shuffled is because the game will call specific individual cards out of that deck. You'll just go into the deck to find them, so do not shuffle this deck unless you want to cause yourself more time. Next, find the Elite Act 1 cards, easy to find based on the backs of the cards, shuffle them up and place them. And last but not least, for the very top row, the Event deck for Act number 1, also shuffled and placed face down. Moving on down to the bottom left, we have the Days deck, which is face up and does not need to be shuffled because all the cards are the same. And very similarly, we have the Status deck beside it. Also, all the cards are the same. They can be left face up and also don't need to be shuffled. The next deck is the Curse deck. Looks like this. You're going to find the keyword Curse right in the center of the card. Go ahead and shuffle all these together and place them face down. That'll do it for the standard size cards. Now, if you have the collector's edition, you have this nice playmat to keep things organized on. If you don't have it, just simply place them in this orientation. You'll also note in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a space provided for additional things you'll unlock as you progress through the campaign. I'm not going to spoil anything for people that don't know what that is, but essentially it will be placed there at a later time. In order to consolidate everything and place it into one area, I've got all the decks in one area, along with the token tray just above it now. You'll also see on the far right-hand side, I've placed a number of mini-card decks. The blue one is the relic deck, the purple one is the boss relic deck, and the orange one is the potion deck. All three of these shuffled independently. The next step is to set up the Act 1 board. You'll know it's Act 1 as it states at the very top banner of the board. It is a double-sided board, so you can choose from either side. Once you've selected a side, you're going to find the map tokens and place them all face down so you cannot see any icons. The map tokens are dark as well as light. You'll see these across the game board you'll be traversing through. You simply go ahead and shuffle these face down without looking and then place them in the corresponding slots. Once all the map tiles are placed, you won't have any leftovers remaining. The next step is to set up the boss. Very easy. Find all the Act 1 bosses in the game, lay them out. You'll see in the top right-hand corner, there's die results on each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. Simply roll a d6. It'll tell you exactly which boss you're going to be going up against. In my case, it flipped to the middle one. Now take the boss card face down and place it at the very top of this track. The boss is all set up, and you'll see to the left an HP tracker. This is used for higher HP enemies you'll go up against for tracking purposes, especially the boss. Moving right along, the next step is very simple. Find the boot marker representing your character traversing up through the spire. We're going to place this next to the icon at the very bottom of the track. Now find the merchant board and place it nearby. In my case, I have the playmat, so I'm going to place this here for now. I might actually take this out of the equation until the merchant actually shows up. Now on the opposite side of the dual-sided cardboard piece that's inside the box, you'll see that there is a player aid, a very handy one on the back side. It shows the combat round, it shows icons, gives you full descriptions of them, as well as talking about the icons that you'll see across the map we just set up, the spire we're traversing through. So for instance, if you don't know what those question marks are, you know now that they're events. Next, find the Neow's Blessings cards. Simply find the ones that have the back that look like this. Shuffle them together. Each player is going to take one at this point. For me playing solo, I'm just drawing the top one. We'll take a look at what it is. Now this card stays at the very top. We gain 3 gold for sure. We also gain a card upgrade, which is a symbol right next to the gold there. Below, you'll see in blue, we have an option. We can choose one of the 3 options. We could either upgrade a card, gain 5 gold, or we could gain a relic, but we'd have to gain a curse if we do that. Now, the nice thing about the collector's edition is it comes with metal coins, and these are really, really nice metal coins. So I'll be going ahead and grabbing a few of these for myself. Now, based on the card that I just pulled, I only get 3 to start, but I'll be talking about the fact that I'm playing solo and actually gaining some additional coins in just a moment. From the Blessing card, I've got my 3 coins. Now we're going to go ahead and get a card rewards. We draw 3 cards off the top of the card rewards deck. Here's a look at the 3 card rewards I have to select from. I can choose one to place it in my deck, or I can skip this entirely and place all 3 of these back at the bottom of the card rewards deck. So as you go through gameplay and you get card rewards, you might actually reveal a bunch of cards, look at them and say, actually, they have nothing to do with my strategy I'm trying to employ. They're going to make my deck worse, or maybe they're going to add more cards that I don't want in my deck. Either way, you don't have to take advantage of this step, but I want to right now in the early stages. If we take a look at the cards, we got 2 cards that actually cost 2 energy. So these are the 2 highest cost cards to put into my deck. As you can see here, energy-wise, that's exactly what ties to that icon. So if I want to play these cards during gameplay, I have to spend energy to play them. So I have to keep that in mind. Now, each one of these is a different type of card. We have 2 attack cards on the edges, and in the middle, we have a power card. And actually, the power card in the center is an unlock card from something I've unlocked for this play. So lucky enough, we do have one sitting right here in the middle I could take advantage of if I want, and it would be a little bit more interesting potentially. Perfected Strike on the left-hand side allows for a 3 damage attack, plus 1 damage for each other card in your hand containing strike. So that could absolutely be something quite powerful over time if you go down that road. In the middle, whenever you draw a status card or daze card, you get to draw a card. So basically, as you're being messed with, your deck is being messed with, usually by bosses and elites that are throwing conditions and different statuses at you, you can actually start drawing cards. So that's kind of cool. And then the other side over here, we have Heavy Blade. This one does 3 damage out as an attack, but each strength that you have adds plus 3 damage to this card instead of the typical 1. That's how much that strength normally adds in the equation, but this card really pumps it up. Now, instead of me selecting this right now, I'm actually going to pose this question to those of you watching. Let me know in the comments down below which of these 3 cards you'd like me to go after. Whichever one gets the most comments, that's the one I'm going to add into my deck. And on top of telling me which card I should go with from the card rewards, also let me know which option you think I should take from the blessing card here. Should I upgrade a card, gain 5 coins, or gain a relic and then gain a curse? I'm very excited to find out exactly which card you guys think I should take as part of the card reward, and also which option from the blessing I should go with. But for the meantime, let's continue on. We're at the very last steps of setup. Now place the miniature which was on your playmat into one of the rows on the game board, and I placed it at the very bottom here. Now at this point, if you're playing solo like I am, you're going to gain 2 additional coins, which I'll add to the 3 I already have, so it's a total of 5, and you're also going to gain what's known as the loaded die. Just go ahead and place the die on top of the card. We'll talk more about this and how it actually will benefit you during gameplay in the near future. The final step to get Slay the Spire, the board game, to the table is to set up the very first encounter. You do this using the first encounter deck. We set this up earlier in the video. You remember it's way up here at the very top, shuffled up. We're going to hold off on that. We'll actually draw that card at the beginning of part number 1 and set things up and dive right into our very first combat, because I first want to hear your thoughts on the card reward to take. Let me know in the comments below for that, and also which option from the blessing card, which of the 3 options at the bottom of this card should I go with. And that, my friends, wraps up the how to set up video for Slay the Spire, the board game from Contention Games. Really looking forward to diving into this one with you guys. Hope you enjoy it, and as always, keep on rolling solo.